Chief should resign, chief should be dismissed. What is your response to that?
No.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I know my job and I'm doing it, Chris. And quite frankly, a lot of those comments are pretty predictable. I heard some of that commentary. They didn't even read the report. Go read the report. And if you've got particular issues with the information, the facts, the evidence that's contained in that report, then let's bring forward and talk about that. The 15-second, headline that some people can grab, I don't respond to that. We've provided what I think is a pretty comprehensive report. I think it's an honest report. I think it's an objective report, and I think any Torontoan reading it will see what the police were dealing with, what a complex and dangerous situation that was. They'll have a better understanding that the decisions will be made, and that would be my hope. Even the most ardent critic, take the time to read the report, and then at least it'll be informed criticism. We've looked at, what works well, what could have worked better. And what worked well, our responsibility to protect that summit site. And world leaders from all over the place. We've got to create a safe environment for them and for that summit. That was done. That was accomplished. The summit itself was not interfered with, and none of those people were put at risk. But we have an equally important responsibility to public safety of the people of Toronto. And at least in the early stages of the assault that was put on the city by the people involved in Black Bloc, there were innocents that were victimized. And we need to find a better tactical response to help protect those people. And it's pretty hard, quite frankly, to try to facilitate lawful peaceful protest in the middle of a riot. Right. And so you've got to separate the people and say, I'm sorry, you have to leave, so that we can deal with these people that are violent. But our tactical response on that can use improvement. We know that. It's one of the things that we're committed to. And we also found, and I offered it not in that report, not as an excuse, but as an explanation. We had a very short period of time to plan and prepare for this event. The planning, I think, was done exceptionally well to get the people, the resources, the equipment you need to do the job in a short period of time. But the transition from planning to operations, where you actually get to practice these scenarios, where we go out and conduct exercises, where you really get time to train your people, to learn from the exercises and train them again, to make sure that everybody's prepared, that was incredibly abridged, and the transition between planning and operations took place over a couple of days, not the amount of time that in hindsight would have been more effective. There's also issues around our communication, our training, as I said, and a number of responses. In the prisoner processing center, we had some difficulty there. We've tried to be as honest and objective about those difficulties, why it happened, and what we would do differently in the future. Now, that's in that report as well. And again, to put a little context on it, the time they started building that center to the time it accepted its first prisoner was about 6 weeks. Right. That's a pretty tight time frame. And I don't know, again, that's an explanation, not an excuse, but my responsibility is then to look critically and objectively at what transpired there, what we can learn from it, and bring forward recommendations, not just for ourselves, but for any police service that's faced with a similar challenge in the future.
But more specifically, Toronto Police, your responsibility is maintaining the safety of the public and property around the summit area, right, around the convention center.
Yes, it's in the context of the entire G20 event, but yes. When
it comes then to the on-the-ground decisions, the decisions that were made over the 3 days in particular, whether it's to go into Queen's Park, whether it's to back off and let protesters go up Yonge Street. Who makes those decisions? Is that someone on the ground, or is that you, or is it one of your...
Well, I can tell you, I wasn't involved in this decision-making matrix around the G20. It was my operational commanders working in the Major Incident Command Center in this building on the 12th floor were making operational decisions, tactical decisions in response to what was going on the ground.
Based on what's happening.
Based on what's happening, and they're communicating, and as well you got commanders on the street who are in communication with them, and there was a fairly well-defined decision-making matrix for the Incident Command Center and the officers on the street, and the Incident Command Center ultimately answered to a unified command center located in Barrie. We do a pretty good job of policing the city. It's one of the safest cities anywhere. And we do a pretty good job, I think, of providing a safe environment and a respectful environment for the people in this city. And I'm absolutely committed to continuing to do that. And if there has been damage to that public trust, then we'll work to restore it.